Have you ever wondered if sand can turn into glass? Glass is made by heating sand to a temperature above 1,400 degrees Celsius, at which point it melts. The result is a material that looks completely different from the original sand. This process was discovered in ancient Egypt and is still used today to make everything from windows to high-tech smartphone screens. So ordinary sand literally transforms into a transparent material that has changed our world. Why does the King of Hearts in a deck of cards have no mustache? If you've ever taken a close look at a standard deck of cards, you may have noticed that the King of Hearts is the only king without a mustache. This small detail, often overlooked, makes him unique among the other kings. Depicted as clean-shaven, this little quirk adds a bit of mystery to the standard deck of cards that we all know and play with. Organic food, truth or myth about its benefits? Research shows that there is no significant difference between organic and conventional foods in terms of nutritional value. While many believe that organic products are healthier and taste better, science doesn't support major distinctions. Some studies have also found no notable differences in taste. However, people often choose organic foods for lower pesticide levels and more eco-friendly farming practices. When choosing between organic and conventional, it's up to each person to decide what matters most: taste or caring for the planet. Did you know the world's largest crossword puzzle has over 66,000 squares? In 2015, Japanese puzzle master Nomio created the world's largest crossword puzzle. This gigantic puzzle boasts 66,666 clues and 93,700 squares. It took 4 years to complete and was displayed in a Japanese shopping mall. Today it's preserved in a book form, giving puzzle lovers a chance to marvel at this monumental brain teaser. Did you know that Big Ben is not a clock? Actually, Big Ben is not the name of the clock or the tower, but the bell inside the clock tower. Its full name is the Great Bell of Westminster, but people simply call it Big Ben. It chimes every hour, creating a melody heard by Londoners and visitors alike. It's one of the most recognizable landmarks in the world, and now you know the real story behind the name. Did you know that honey can last forever? Honey is one of the few natural products that practically never spoils and can remain edible for thousands of years. Archaeologists discovered pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs, over 3,000 years old, and the honey was still edible. The secret to this longevity lies in honey's unique chemical composition. It contains very little water and has high acidity, which creates an environment where bacteria and mold can't thrive. This natural preservative ensures honey's everlasting freshness, making it a wonder of nature that can remain delicious and usable for centuries. Did you know a group of kangaroos is called a mob? Yes, that's true. A group of these fascinating animals is called a mob, and the name perfectly describes their social behavior. Kangaroos live in large groups, moving and foraging together. Their social structure is well coordinated, with each mob acting as a unit. This makes them unique not only biologically, but also behaviorally. Now, when you see a group of kangaroos, you can call them a mob and impress your friends with this fun fact. Can you believe it? There are islands that appear and disappear. In some parts of the world, especially in the Indian Ocean region, there are sandy islands that appear and disappear depending on the tides. These islands are known as ghost islands. They may only exist for a few hours or days before being submerged again. This incredible natural phenomenon raises questions among scientists about how such unstable ecosystems form. Your chances of winning the lottery? Dangerously low. How likely do you think it is to win the lottery? Believe it or not, the chances of dying on your way to buy a lottery ticket are higher than hitting the jackpot. Statistically, your odds of winning the lottery are so low that you're more likely to suffer from an unfortunate accident. This doesn't mean you shouldn't play, but perhaps it's worth remembering that true luck is just getting home safe and sound. So if you decide to try your luck, be cautious. Sometimes the road to your dream can be more dangerous than you think. Why is there a village in Norway where it's Christmas every day? In the Norwegian village of Drobak, a festive Christmas spirit lasts all year long. There's a Santa Claus museum, a postal service for sending holiday letters, and shops full of Christmas decorations. Even in summer, you can feel like it's winter, and the locals happily maintain this festive atmosphere. Tourists come here to experience a holiday wonderland, leaving with smiles and holiday cheer. Thumbs have their own pulse. Have you ever wondered why people check their pulse using their index and middle fingers instead of their thumbs? It's because your thumb has its own pulse. Each thumb is supplied with blood by the radial artery, which runs along the wrist on the thumb side. This artery is so strong that you can feel its pulse when you touch it. That's why it's recommended to avoid using your thumb when taking a pulse, to prevent mixing up its pulse with your actual heartbeat. Now you know that even your thumb has its own little heartbeat. Amazingly, trees can communicate with each other. Scientists have discovered that trees communicate through root systems and fungal networks. This so-called wood wide web allows trees to share nutrients and warn each other about pests. They can send signals about water scarcity or threats so that nearby trees can prepare. This communication system makes forests much more complex and interconnected than we ever imagined. 6 legs but no steps. The mystery of dragonflies. Dragonflies, like most insects, have 6 legs, but here's the twist. They can't walk. Doesn't that sound illogical? Instead of using their legs to get around on the ground, dragonflies use them for entirely different purposes. Their legs are perfectly adapted for grabbing prey in midair. Dragonflies use their legs like a little net to catch insects while flying. This adaptation makes them true masters of aerial hunting, able to catch prey mid-flight and then settle comfortably on a branch to enjoy their meal. For them, life is all about the thrill of the chase. The Babylonian lottery, fate decides dinner. Imagine your dinner invitation being decided by a lottery. In ancient Babylon, there was a lottery where fate literally determined who would attend the feast. This method of selecting banquet guests added an element of randomness and unpredictability to social life. Fate played a decisive role in who would be at the dinner table. This ancient custom shows just how much in life can depend on chance, especially when it comes to something as delightful as dinner. The Spring Equinox. More than just a change of seasons. The first day of spring is known as the vernal equinox. The term vernal comes from the Latin word for spring, while equinox means equal night in Latin. During this time, day and night are nearly equal in length. An interesting fact, according to a study on Facebook, spring is the season when couples are most likely to break up. Perhaps the balance of day and night encourages people to seek new beginnings. Who knew that an astronomical event could have an impact on our personal lives? Can it be true that sharks never stop swimming, even when they sleep? Unlike other fish, sharks don't have swim bladders, so they must keep moving to stay buoyant and breathe. Some sharks can enter a semi-sleep state where half their brain rests while the other half keeps them swimming. Thus, sharks literally swim their entire lives without stopping. Did you know that ancient maps showed sea monsters? During the age of exploration, when sailors had no idea what lay beyond the horizon, maps often depicted enormous sea monsters. The cartographers who created them frequently drew giant squids, whales, and snake-like creatures in the seas and oceans, warning future travelers of what lay ahead. Some monsters on these maps were inspired by real encounters with unknown sea creatures, while others were pure fantasy. For sailors of that time, a map was not just a guide, but a warning about the dangers lurking beyond the known world. Believe it or not, the world's smallest island is only a few square meters. Bishop Rock, located in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of England, holds the title of the world's smallest island. Its area is only 8/1000ths of a square kilometer, just 3/1000ths of a square mile. Despite its tiny size, the island boasts a lighthouse and is the most westerly point of England. It's officially recognized in the Guinness World Records as the smallest inhabited island, proving that even the smallest piece of land can be home to something remarkable. How about this? In Italy, there is a museum filled with objects found at the bottom of canals. In Venice, there is a museum where exhibits are collected from the bottom of the famous canals. Among the items on display, you can find ancient coins, musical instruments, luxury goods, and even cars. This museum tells the city's history through lost and forgotten objects, many of which lay underwater for centuries. Venice, with its labyrinth of canals, has always been a mysterious city, and these underwater discoveries reveal even more secrets of this ancient place. Believe it or not, your brain generates about 70,000 thoughts a day. Imagine your brain as a factory of ideas, working non-stop. Every day it generates around 70,000 thoughts. That means a new idea memory, or decision is born in your head every few seconds. This incredible ability allows us to multitask and quickly adapt, processing thousands of decisions automatically. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by thoughts, remember, your brain's powerful thinking factory is in full operation. The secret to flight: 4 forces that keep a plane in the air. A plane's flight isn't just about its wings. In reality, there are 4 forces at work: lift, thrust, drag, and gravity. Lift keeps the plane in the air thanks to the wings. Thrust propels the plane forward through its engines. Drag resists the plane's motion, and gravity pulls it down. These forces work together to maintain stable flight, like a well-choreographed dance where each force has its role. Understanding these forces can make the marvel of flight even more fascinating. It turns out that hippos secrete bloody sweat to protect themselves from the sun. Hippo's skin produces a special reddish liquid that acts as sunscreen and has antiseptic properties. This bloody sweat not only protects hippos from harmful UV rays, but also helps heal wounds. In the wild, this feature makes hippos true survival experts, who have found an amazing way to shield themselves from the sun. Who would have thought that polar bears have black skin? Yes, beneath their snowy white fur, polar bears actually have black skin. This may seem surprising, but nature designed these animals to have the best possible insulation for surviving in freezing environments. Their black skin helps them absorb more sunlight, while their hollow, transparent fur traps the sun's rays, creating a thermos effect. This incredible adaptation allows polar bears to stay warm in the extreme Arctic cold. Although their fur appears white, it merely reflects the surrounding light, making them almost invisible against the snow and ice. Did you know the world's smallest horse weighs less than a dog? Thumbelina, the world's smallest horse, stands at just 43 centimeters tall and weighs only 26 kilograms. Born in 2001 with a genetic condition causing dwarfism, Thumbelina may be tiny, but she has a big heart. She works as a therapy animal, bringing joy to children and the elderly with her adorable presence. The first computer bug was a real bug. In 1947, a real moth flew into one of the first computers, causing it to malfunction. This unexpected visitor became the first documented computer bug. Since then, the term bug has been used to describe any glitch in a computer system. Who would have thought that a tiny moth could play such a big role in technological history? This little incident also gave rise to the term debugging, and the story remains a quirky part of tech lore. Why can toads live far from water? Ever wondered what makes toads different from frogs? One of the key differences is their habitat. Frogs need to stay near water because their skin requires moisture to breathe. Toads, however, have thicker skin that allows them to retain moisture and live away from water. So if you spot an amphibian in your backyard, it's more likely to be a toad than a frog. These adaptations help toads survive in drier places, making them true masters of land survival. Tiny plants, mighty power. Half of Earth's oxygen comes from the ocean. The oxygen we breathe is not only created by forests, but also by tiny marine organisms like plankton, algae, and seaweed. These little factories produce more than half of the planet's oxygen through photosynthesis. Thanks to sunlight, they transform carbon dioxide into oxygen, which is vital for all living beings on Earth. This amazing fact reminds us of the importance of the oceans and their role in sustaining life on our planet. Did you know that the colored squares on toothpaste tubes aren't magic? You've probably noticed the small colored squares at the end of toothpaste tubes. Some people believe that these colored markings indicate the product's composition, whether it's natural or chemical. But the truth is, that's just a myth. These marks, which can be black, blue, red, or green, are known as eye marks and serve purely technical purposes. They help machines on the production line correctly orient the tube for packaging and labeling. These marks contain no information about the toothpaste's ingredients or quality. So next time you see such a mark, you'll know it's just a technical detail, not a sign of some mysterious chemical composition. You probably didn't know that corals are animals, not plants. Corals may look like lifeless, stationary organisms, but they are living creatures belonging to the cnidarian family. They consist of tiny beings called polyps that feed on microscopic plankton. Polyps group together in colonies to form coral reefs, creating one of the most diverse and complex ecosystems on Earth. Despite their simplicity, corals play a crucial role in sustaining marine biodiversity, and their disappearance could alter ocean ecosystems for millennia. How about this? Dubai is building skyscrapers that rotate. In Dubai, they are designing skyscrapers that will slowly rotate around their own axis, changing the view from the windows. The idea is that residents can enjoy a new view every day, with sunlight evenly illuminating the building. With such innovations, Dubai remains at the forefront of architectural thinking, creating structures that are not only beautiful, but practical for use in hot climates. Why do you think there are ice hotels in the world? In some northern countries, such as Sweden and Canada, hotels are built entirely out of ice. Every year, these buildings are reconstructed as they melt by the end of winter. Ice hotels offer guests the opportunity to sleep on ice beds, in ice rooms, surrounded by ice sculptures. However, warm sleeping bags are provided to ensure a comfortable night's stay. It's a unique way to experience the real winter. The most expensive painting ever sold went for hundreds of millions. In 2017, Leonardo da Vinci's painting, Salvator Mundi, Savior of the World, was sold at auction for an astonishing $450 million. This masterpiece was long considered lost until it was rediscovered in the 20th century. Even after its discovery, debates over its authenticity continued. Many wondered if it was truly painted by Leonardo himself. Nevertheless, its sale made history, turning Salvator Mundi into the most sought-after art piece in the world. It's interesting that messages in bottles can travel for years across the sea. Sometimes bottles with messages thrown into the sea can float for years before reaching a shore. The longest recorded journey of such a message lasted about 133 years. During that time, the bottle traveled thousands of kilometers. These random journeys have inspired countless stories, and even in our digital age, people continue to throw bottles into the ocean, hoping to connect with future generations. Laser. Did you know that the word is an acronym? We're all familiar with the word laser, but did you know that it's actually an acronym? LASER stands for Light Amplification by Stimulated Emission of Radiation. This describes a complex process in which energy is focused to create a powerful beam of light. Lasers are used in a wide range of fields, from medicine to scientific research and entertainment. They have become an integral part of modern technology. Yet few people realize that the word laser itself is a technical term that hides an amazing process, one that has made the world even more technological. Did you know Sirius is the brightest star in the night sky? When you look up at the night sky, you probably notice a bright star shining more brilliantly than all the others. That's Sirius, also known as the dog star. Located in the constellation Canis Major, Sirius has a magnitude of -1.46, making it the brightest star visible from Earth. Although it seems close, Sirius is about 8.6 light-years away, adding a sense of mystery and wonder to the night sky. Did you know that squirrels can cause power outages? It turns out that cute, fluffy squirrels can cause significant damage to the power grid. In the United States, about 10 to 20% of all power outages happen because squirrels accidentally come into contact with wires and electrical equipment. These little mischief makers love climbing power lines, sometimes touching dangerous parts of the equipment. This leads to short circuits and outages that can affect entire cities. Who would have thought that such innocent-looking creatures could cause serious energy problems? Next time you see a squirrel on a tree, think about its potential as a saboteur. Sperm whales, the loudest creatures on Earth. Sperm whales are underwater sound machines. They produce clicks and vocalizations that can reach up to 230 decibels. That's several times louder than a jet engine. These sounds help sperm whales communicate over vast distances and navigate the ocean depths. They use them like sonar to hunt giant squid at depths of over 1,000 meters. These clicks are so powerful that they can even stun their prey from a distance. Imagine if humans had similar abilities. We could communicate across entire oceans. Can you believe it? Cows have best friends. Cows, beyond being valuable farm animals, are incredibly social creatures with rich emotional lives. They can form strong friendships with other cows, and if separated from their best friends, they can become stressed. Cows often spend time together, graze in pairs, and express their emotions through unique vocalizations. Their social bonds highlight that cows are not just animals providing milk, but they have their own emotional worlds that deserve recognition. Vultures and their cooling trick. Vultures have a unique way to stay cool in hot weather. Since they can't sweat, they've developed an alternative method. They poop on their own legs. The water in their droppings evaporates, cooling their skin. This process is called urohydrosis, and it also helps to sterilize their legs after coming into contact with decaying food. So if you ever see a vulture with white streaks on its legs, know that it's not just dirt, it's a clever way to beat the heat and keep clean. Nature certainly has its own surprises. Do you think hot water freezes faster than cold? It is a common misconception. Although it sometimes seems like hot water freezes faster, cold water usually freezes faster under most circumstances. This is because cold water is already closer to the freezing point. However, there is a mysterious phenomenon known as the Mpemba effect, which sometimes causes hot water to freeze faster. Scientists are still debating how exactly this effect works, and its mechanisms remain a mystery. But if you need ice quickly, it is better to start with cold water. Imagine for a moment. The Sahara Desert is the largest desert on Earth. The Sahara Desert is not just a desert, it's a giant oven. Covering over 9 million square kilometers, it is the largest hot desert in the world. It spans much of North Africa, covering an area roughly the size of China or the United States. Temperatures in the Sahara can soar up to 58 degrees Celsius, about 136 degrees Fahrenheit, making it one of the hottest places on Earth. Is it possible that sharks don't get cancer? Sharks are considered some of the most resilient creatures on the planet, and their unique regenerative abilities protect them from many diseases. Although sharks can get cancer, it happens very rarely because their immune system is extremely strong. Studying shark tissues has helped scientists better understand how to fight diseases and prolong human life. These ancient predators hold many secrets, and their bodies inspire breakthroughs in medicine. The surprising trend in Japan: pets preferred over children. Imagine this. In Japan, there are now more pets than children. This surprising fact highlights modern social trends. More and more Japanese people are choosing to have pets instead of children. Statistics show that the number of pets in Japan exceeds the number of children under the age of 15. This is due to many factors, such as the high costs of raising children, career ambitions, and limited housing space. Pets require less time and resources, but still bring joy and a sense of care. This trend reflects global changes in the perception of family life and values in different countries around the world. Hard to believe, but there's a flying snake in Africa. In Africa, there's a snake known as the tree glider that can move from branch to branch, almost as if it's flying. It flattens its body and uses it as a parachute, covering distances of up to 20 meters in the air. These snakes use their flight abilities to escape predators and quickly move between trees. They look like creatures from a sci-fi movie, but this is the reality of the wild, where anything is possible. The Eiffel Tower grows in summer. Every year when summer hits Paris, the Eiffel Tower undergoes a little growth spurt. Its height can increase by a few centimeters due to the thermal expansion of iron. As temperatures rise, the metal expands, making the tower stretch upwards as if waking up from a winter slumber. This phenomenon shows how even majestic and sturdy structures, like the Eiffel Tower, are influenced by nature. And when summer ends and temperatures drop, the tower shrinks back to its usual height. It's a reminder that architecture and nature are always dancing together in harmony. Sleeping with one eye open: how dolphins and birds stay vigilant. Some animals, like dolphins and many birds, have the incredible ability to sleep with one eye open. This phenomenon is called unihemispheric sleep, where one half of the brain sleeps while the other stays awake to monitor the environment. This helps animals stay alert and avoid dangers like predators. For example, dolphins can sleep while staying on the water's surface and continue to breathe. Birds can rest in mid-flight or perched on a branch while remaining vigilant. This remarkable adaptation is an example of how nature has developed incredible survival mechanisms in the most challenging conditions. Is it true that Iceland has no railways? Iceland really has no railways, despite technological advancements in other countries. The main reason is the geographical features of the country, which consists of volcanic rocks and mountainous terrain, making railway construction extremely difficult and expensive. Additionally, due to the small population, roads are a more convenient mode of transport, so despite all the progress, you won't find trains there. Kiwi, the bird that can't fly but rules New Zealand. The kiwi bird is not just a national symbol of New Zealand, it's a true star. Despite having wings, the kiwi can't fly, but that doesn't stop it from being an icon of its country. These small birds are known for their unique appearance and habits. They are nocturnal and use their keen sense of smell to find food. The kiwi is so important to New Zealand that the locals call themselves Kiwi. This proves that even the smallest and most unusual bird can become the symbol of an entire nation. Can you believe the fastest land animal can run at 120 kilometers per hour? The cheetah is nature's sprinting wonder, capable of reaching speeds of up to 120 kilometers per hour, which is about 75 miles per hour. However, its incredible speed is only for short bursts, as the cheetah can maintain this pace for just a few seconds before exhaustion and heat set in. Despite this, its brief but powerful sprint makes it the king of land predators. But if we're talking about speed in general, the absolute champion remains the peregrine falcon, which we discussed in our last video. This bird can dive at speeds exceeding 300 kilometers per hour. Can you imagine that the total weight of all ants on Earth equals the weight of all humans? Despite their tiny size, ants are among the most numerous creatures on the planet. The total weight of all ants on Earth is equal to the weight of all humans. This astonishing fact highlights just how numerous these small workers are. Ants live in every corner of the planet, and their contribution to ecosystems is incredibly important. It's another example of how nature surprises us with its unexpected scales. Who would have thought that ants are such heavyweights in the natural world? It's fascinating that buildings can be cooled without electricity. There are technologies that allow buildings to stay cool using special insulation and solar reflectors. So-called green roofs are covered with vegetation, creating natural shade and preventing overheating. Additionally, reflective materials are used to bounce sunlight and lower indoor temperatures. In this way, on hot summer days, these buildings remain cool without air conditioners or electricity. The first footprint on the moon could stay there for over 1 million years. When Neil Armstrong made his famous footprint on the surface of the moon in 1969, little did he know that it could remain there for millions of years. Because the moon has no atmosphere, there are no processes like wind or rain to erase the print. This makes the moon a kind of time capsule, where astronauts' footprints could remain almost forever. That footprint will always be a symbol of humanity's drive to explore and conquer space. Can you guess when the first mobile phone call was made? On April 3, 1973, the first mobile phone call in history was made. This historic moment took place in New York City when Motorola engineer Martin Cooper dialed the number of his competitor. The phone was bulky and weighed over 1 kilogram. This call marked the beginning of a new era in communications, paving the way for the sleek smartphones we carry with us today. Penguins propose with pebbles at a lee. Penguin males don't just seek a mate. They stage a true romantic ritual in the icy vastness of Antarctica. When it's time to win over a female, the male carefully selects the smoothest and most beautiful pebble he can find and presents it to his chosen one as a symbol of his affection. If she accepts this gift, she's ready to pair up with him. This charming gesture has become a symbol of courtship among penguins, adding a touch of warmth to the frozen Antarctic landscape. Imagine if we replaced engagement rings with pebbles. Why do skunks smell so bad? It turns out that their smell is their main defense mechanism, and it's so powerful that it can scare off most predators from hundreds of meters away. The secret lies in the sulfur-containing chemicals they release from special glands near their tails. And get this, the smell can linger for days on objects and even in the air. Who would have thought that such a small animal could have such a weapon of mass destruction? Did you know that a jiffy is an actual unit of time? The term jiffy is not just a figure of speech. It's a real unit of time. In scientific terms, a jiffy is defined as the time it takes light to travel 1 centimeter in a vacuum, which is approximately 33 picoseconds. While we often use the word to refer to something happening quickly, scientists have made it a measurable moment. This fun fact shows that even the quickest of moments can be quantified if you delve deep enough into the mysteries of time. The most destructive computer virus in history Computer viruses can cause enormous damage in a short time, but the MyDoom virus broke all records. Created in 2004, it became the fastest spreading virus in history, causing about $38 billion in damage. It raced across the world at lightning speed, leaving financial chaos in its wake. A brutal reminder of the hidden dangers lurking in our connected technologies. Octopuses lay eggs like chickens. Octopuses are oviparous, meaning they lay eggs like many other animals. A female octopus can lay thousands of tiny eggs and guards them diligently until they hatch. During this period, she does not eat and devotes all her energy to protecting her offspring. After the eggs hatch, the mother octopus often dies from exhaustion. This self-sacrificing parenting instinct makes octopuses remarkable creatures, willing to give everything for the next generation. Why do you think the world's most expensive coffee costs so much? Kopi Luwak is the world's most expensive coffee, priced at a whopping $600 per pound. This exotic brew is made from coffee beans that have been eaten and passed through the digestive system of the civet, a small animal found in Southeast Asia. Enzymes in the civet's stomach alter the flavor of the beans, making them smoother and less bitter. The result is a coffee with a unique, mild taste that coffee enthusiasts are willing to pay top dollar for. What if I told you that bees can recognize human faces? Bees are not just hardworking hive workers. They're also skilled at recognizing faces. Yes, they can remember and recognize human faces, especially those they interact with often. This amazing ability helps bees navigate and even remember familiar people, making their complex social interactions smoother. It's incredible, but these little insects have cognitive skills that are often underestimated. Who would have thought that such tiny creatures could be so perceptive? Why is Venus hotter than Mercury, even though it's farther from the Sun? Despite Mercury being the closest planet to the Sun, Venus holds the title of the hottest planet in our solar system. Its surface temperature reaches 460 degrees Celsius, or about 860 degrees Fahrenheit. This is all due to its dense atmosphere, mostly made up of carbon dioxide, which creates a powerful greenhouse effect, trapping heat. Venus's atmosphere acts like a giant blanket, making it resemble an inferno, even though it's farther from the Sun. The royal game of is the oldest board game, over 4,000 years old. This ancient game was discovered during excavations in Mesopotamia and dates back to around 2600 BCE. Played by two players on a 20-square board, the game involved strategic moves with pieces that maneuvered around obstacles. It had a major influence on the development of future board games, demonstrating the strategic thinking of ancient civilizations. Just imagine how deep-rooted our love for games really is. Did you know Bank of America was originally called the Bank of Italy? One of the largest banks in the United States, Bank of America, was originally founded in 1904 in San Francisco as the Bank of Italy. Its founder, Amedeo Giannini, created the bank to serve immigrants and the working class. Over time, the bank expanded and eventually became the financial giant known today as Bank of America. This journey from a small bank for Italian immigrants to an international financial powerhouse is truly a story of success. Did you know there's a banana you shouldn't eat? In Hawaii, a unique type of banana called the plantain banana grows, which despite its appetizing appearance, is not meant to be eaten. It tastes very bitter, somewhat like a potato. Locals use it for weaving traditional crafts rather than food. Tourists are often surprised by these bananas, but the locals are quick to warn, don't try eating them. Why is kissing camels banned in Egypt? And what could happen if you disobey? In Egypt, you can find signs warning, no camel kissing. And it's not as strange as it sounds. These animals can be unpredictable, and they also carry infections that can be transmitted to humans. Despite their friendly appearance, camels can show aggression, especially when they feel threatened. It's better to keep a safe distance and settle for a photo to avoid any unpleasant surprises. How much do you think the world's most expensive pizza costs? In 2007, Scottish chef Domenico Crolla created the Royal 007 pizza, priced at a staggering $4,200. This gourmet pizza was topped with luxurious ingredients like edible gold flakes, caviar, smoked salmon, and venison marinated in champagne. It was auctioned off for charity, making it a culinary masterpiece worth its weight in gold. Now that's a slice of royal extravagance. Did you know that the name John is over 4,000 years old? The name John is one of the oldest in human history, documented more than 4,000 years ago. This name has endured through countless ages and cultures, remaining relevant even today. Just imagine, millions of people throughout history have carried this simple yet powerful name, which continues to symbolize tradition and endurance. The broken chains at the feet of the Statue of Liberty. At the feet of the Statue of Liberty are broken chains, symbolizing freedom from oppression and injustice. These chains, often hidden from view, send a powerful message: the continuous march towards emancipation and liberty. They serve as a reminder that the struggle for freedom never truly ends, and every step taken is part of the larger journey towards justice. The Statue of Liberty's broken chains represent hope and liberation for all. Imagine a flight that lasts only 53 seconds. The shortest commercial flight in the world connects two Scottish islands, Westray and Papa Westray. This flight covers just 1.5 miles and lasts less than a minute. Only 53 seconds. By the time you buckle your seatbelt, the plane is already preparing to land. It's probably the quickest and shortest way to travel that you can imagine. If you ever find yourself on this flight, you won't even notice its start and finish. Did you know the term internet was first used in 1974? We all know the internet is an essential part of modern life, but did you know the first mention of the word was in 1974? At that time, internet was used to describe a global network of interconnected computer systems. Back then, it was a novelty, but by the end of the 20th century, the internet became a revolutionary technology that changed the world. Today, billions of people are connected online, and the internet has become not just a communication tool, but also a key platform for business, science, and education. Why are honey mushrooms considered the largest living organisms on the planet? In the forests of Oregon, there is one of the largest organisms on Earth, the honey fungus Armillaria ostoya. This fungus covers an area of over 9 square kilometers and has been growing for thousands of years. Underground, it forms giant mycelial networks that connect trees and other plants. Above ground, it may look like just a few mushrooms, but beneath the surface lies an enormous network rivaling the size of large cities. Did you know that turtles can breathe through their butts? Yes, you heard that right. Turtles, especially species like the Fitzroy River turtle, can breathe through their cloaca, the opening they use for reproduction and waste excretion. This amazing ability helps turtles absorb oxygen from the water, allowing them to stay underwater for long periods. This process is called cloacal respiration, and it's yet another example of how unique and diverse survival methods are in the animal kingdom. So next time you see a turtle, remember that it's a true master of breathing from both ends. Pteronophobia, an unusual fear you might not know about. Did you know that the fear of being tickled by feathers has its own name? It's called pteronophobia, and it's characterized by an irrational fear of being tickled by feathers or even by feathers themselves. While this phobia is rare, it can cause significant stress and anxiety for those who suffer from it. This unusual fear is yet another example of how unique human fears can be and how they can impact daily life. Why a cat's brain is 90% like a human's. Surprisingly, despite their size, a cat's brain is 90% similar to a human's. While cats don't solve equations or read books, the structure of their brain, especially the cerebral cortex, is remarkably like ours. Cats can experience emotions such as joy, fear, and even jealousy, making them far more complex than they might seem. Their ability to learn and remember is impressive. They can associate specific actions with rewards, similar to how children learn. So perhaps your little kitty is much smarter than you think. It just chooses not to show it. Did you know that we lose a total of 9 years of life on smartphone screens? Imagine this. According to research, the average person spends about 3 hours a day on their smartphone. Now multiply that over an entire lifetime. Let's say 72 years. It turns out that a whole 9 years of your life is spent staring at your phone screen. Can you imagine how much you could accomplish in that time? Traveling to new countries, learning multiple languages, or writing a book? There are endless possibilities. Next time you pick up your phone, remember you have 9 years you could live differently. Why is there a restaurant in Tokyo where real ninjas serve food? In Tokyo, there is a restaurant where waiters dress as ninjas, and it's wildly popular. The waiters perform tricks, vanish into thin air, and serve dishes with an air of mystery. The menu features exotic dishes served with an element of surprise, and every meal is accompanied by a show. It's not just a restaurant, it's a full adventure for those who have always dreamed of seeing ninjas in action. Hell freezes over every year. Believe it or not, there's a town in Norway called Hell, and it literally freezes over every winter. This is not a joke, it's a real place on the map. And although the town is quite small, it attracts tourists every year thanks to its unusual name. Due to Norway's cold climate, Hell is covered in ice and snow every winter, often sparking jokes. "When hell freezes over" is a phrase that is rather common for the residents of this town. So if you want to see hell for yourself, head to Norway in the winter and watch it freeze over. Why do you think giraffes have black tongues? Giraffes have tongues nearly half a meter long, and they're not just black, they're blue-black. This unique color isn't random, it protects them from the sun. Giraffes spend hours each day stripping leaves from tall trees under the hot sun. The dark color acts like a natural sunscreen, preventing sunburn. This amazing adaptation lets giraffes spend all the time they need in the sun without worry. Nature thought of everything. How would you react if you knew that in Japan, buildings are made of paper? In Japan, they are developing innovative buildings made from recycled paper. This material is used for temporary structures such as pavilions or exhibition centers. The paper walls are treated with special substances that make them resistant to rain and fire. This is an example of how modern technologies allow for the construction of eco-friendly buildings that are easy to dismantle and recycle, leaving no harm to the environment. What do kangaroos really need such big tails for? These huge tails not only provide balance, but also serve as a fifth leg. When walking, kangaroos lean on their tails, allowing their hind legs to move faster and with less strain. During jumps, the tail helps them maintain equilibrium, and at high speeds it serves as a stabilizer. Scientists believe that without such a tail, kangaroos wouldn't be able to make their famous 10-meter leaps forward. It's a true multi-tool for these amazing Australian marsupials.